So it's been going on 2 years since I last competed. So the last show that I done was the 2019 Mr. Universe in November 2019, and that whole season itself had been the most winningest season of all time. So I won the overall at the British in June, or in May. Won the overall Mr. Scotland. I won the overall PCA British as well. So going into that universe was like not like a sure thing, but I thought I had a pretty good chance of winning that. So, but what happened was, because I've been dieting for almost an entire year, it was almost as if my body just switched off. And after the PCA British, my body was like, no, I'm not doing this anymore. It's funny because, see, backstage, I've been doing this since I was 19, and see, when you're on and you know that you're winning a chance of either winning or placing well, people will look at you backstage, like catch glimpses of you, and you'll be like, oh yeah, he's on point. And at the universe, like, no one was like that with me, and I was like, no, I don't look good. So I knew I was off, but I came sixth at the Mr. Universe being off, so I kind of just took it on the chin and I had to remember everything that I'd done previously that entire year. So the goal this year is to do the Arnold Classic, the UK show in Birmingham. I've done the Arnold Classic Europe before, 7 years ago, and I didn't place. So this show kind of means a lot in terms of almost like redemption. I don't like using that word too much, but it is a big thing for me, trying to do obviously way better than I did the time before. So, but yeah, 2 years I've flown, but I'm glad to be close to it again. In previous years, I've had just someone who I trust to kind of look over me and back my decisions. So essentially, I've done everything myself. I've done my own training, I've done my own diet, everything to do with the prep. I've done that since day one. And but this time round, I handed the reins to a coach this time, just to tell me to do X, Y, Z. And well, I'd already done a whole year with Patrick in the off season, putting on size. So he knows my body quite well already. So there wasn't really much, in terms of like transitioning from an off season to a prep, there wasn't much doubt in my mind of his ability to kind of get me in shape. It was just, obviously, it's a different perspective, some different methods, some different ways of thinking. That's kind of been like the big difference in that respect. At this point now, Patrick tells me what to do every single day. So I send a check-in every single day, and he changes the diet for the next day. So it's that's been the kind of difference this time round. And in terms of like stress levels and whatnot, it's been a vast difference to kind of do it myself. Because when you're doing it yourself, you second guess everything. So even though I'm confident in my abilities, and with abilities with clients and all that as well, because I've put tons of people through contest preps, you're still a bit like, should I do that? Should I be doing this? Should I be doing that? So this time round, I think this prep's just been an absolute breeze, because it's still been the hardest prep I've ever done, but simply because I don't have to think. That's a huge factor this time round. So it's been a bit of a, I don't want to say a breath of fresh air, because I do love coaching myself, I really do. And but it's been different in a really good way. So yeah, that's probably the difference. Right, so I tore a tendon. I popped a few tendon fibres in my left hip. I've had hip injuries before. I had one in my right hip in 2019. I actually got that in video as well, but it's not as dramatic as that one. And so the right hip has given me bother for, not bother, but like, it definitely gets tense and it gets sore now and again. But that's why I was so like, oh, that's the left one gone. So I got told by my physio 6 weeks minimum until I'm 100% again. But I've been able to train legs around 30-40% and keep my look, and if anything, my legs actually look a wee bit better, because I'm not destroying them with like the training techniques that I was using before. So the look is actually a wee bit better. So that for me was, obviously you were there, like you saw how like down I was about it. Like I was really down about that, because it was insanely painful as well. And honestly, on the leg press there and then, I thought that was it. I thought that's the prep over. I thought I was gonna have to look down and there'd just be a huge pool of blood just around my leg, just from a tear, but there wasn't, and just kind of took it on the chin and just cracked on. Really, that's all you can do. Just work around it. If you're that serious about a goal, you should just have to work around it, and it's kind of paid off because the legs look probably the best they ever have been. So this is kind of like, I don't know what's the word for it, like a bit of a saving grace that's come out of it. So it's not been as bad as I thought it was going to be. So I tell clients all the time, like, because it's nice when you're on contest prep to think about future things you're going to do, because it keeps you kind of motivated, and it keeps you knowing that there's more to come. But as of like next year, I haven't really got any I've got a vague plan. So if the pro card was to be won this year, I'd probably take 2022 off, because I'm nowhere near the size that's needed for open professional bodybuilding. If I didn't get my pro card, I'd like to try the Mr. Universe again next year, which would be in November. So it just depends kind of how this year plays out. Don't get me wrong, it's good to be laser focused, which I am, but at the same time, I'm a bit of a realist as well. Like, you have to remember that sport doesn't always play out the way you want it. Most of the time it doesn't. So yeah, it's just about taking right now, definitely taking each day as it comes, because you saw me trying to struggle to get up those stairs. Like, it has to be day by day. If you think too far ahead into the future, you kind of get overwhelmed a wee bit.
You're confident?
Yeah, very. Yeah. I don't like blowing my horn too much, but yeah, I'm pretty confident going into the shows. Not so much where I become complacent, because I know a lot of the British guys that are going to be doing the Arnold, but I don't know any like Europeans who are going to be doing it, and they sometimes, most of the time, end up being like the dark horses, because they don't have social media, and if they do, they don't put up much. They're in a country far, far away and all that sort of stuff, so you have to be very careful what you say and do prior to shows, because you just don't know who's going to show up. So we'll just have to wait and see the day. But as long as I've given it 100% and I've done everything in my power, that's all I can do.